So hello, my name is Ladun Awobokun. I'm the Chief Content Officer at FilmOne, Film House Group. What do? I lead the content strategy for the group, which ranges from film production, greenlighting films, deciding what films to invest in, distributing to the many studios and Nollywood films that we do, and I love it. What I love most about my job is that no day is the same, and I kid you not, every day that I get to work, I don't know what I'm going to do, and for me, well, not like I don't know what I'm going to do. There are difficulties and there are challenges, but then there's so much joy as well. So that unpredictability of it is what is most exciting about what I do. You never know what the day holds, and especially from what I did before coming into film, where you definitely knew what the day held, being in banking. It's nice to come and then not know. You have an idea, but there's always one shock or the other. Again, you're doing it in Nigeria, so that in itself is quite interesting. So I love it. And being able to create and see what you have thought about or ideated being created on screen is always a pleasure. Look, there are many people that this has happened to, by the way. A lot of people have gone from law to creating or banking to film, but it was something that I was supposed to use to transition. I had done financial market research for 5 years. And I was bored, and I thought, okay, I'll do something in the middle whilst I then now apply to the big four because I wanted to go into consulting. And that thing that I was doing in the middle now is what I've been doing for 10 years. It was let's quickly do this. It sounds interesting, like how hard it is it to do? It was supposed to just be distribution at the time, and obviously my role has evolved over the years. But it was something that I was supposed to do whilst I was figuring out what I wanted to do, and I ultimately loved it, and I was like, yes, I'm going to build a career out of this, and I've loved it every day since then. Very interesting that you asked that. I think it was maybe my first week in when I realized how hard it was to do. Again, I took it because I thought it was going to be so easy. I mean, you distribute films, how hard can it be? But I recalled my third day at work calling my friend and literally weeping on the phone saying, I don't know why I did this. I should have stuck to what I actually studied in school and do it. It's straightforward. But that's the thing about when you have a mindset where you want to conquer. The moment I see that something is challenging, it's the more reason why I want to do it. So because it was challenging, it was almost like, I need to take this off the box. So I got into it because I thought it was challenging, and I thought, why not? There's nothing I can't do. And that's how I was brought up. That is what is interesting about working in film, because especially film in Nigeria or in Africa, no, it's evolving. It's why I referenced how every day is different. Every day comes with its own challenges. So there's still, I mean, if you need to look at my vision board, there's still things that I need to do next month or next quarter, next year, next 5 years. There's still so much growth, and I'm very blessed to be in an industry where we're really at an inflection point where I'm literally going to be part of the change, and I'm very honored to be able to do that. So yeah. I'm thinking if I can share in detail, but one thing that I'm working towards is, look, I want to live a life of impact. And if I spend my time doing as much work that I do and spend as much time doing it, I better be able to live an impact that my children can see that I did. There are people's lives that I have changed. So a lot of what I want to do long term from a 3 to 5 year is being able to say, Ladun came, Ladun got here, and she did this. She did that, she impacted this person's life. She changed this for the better. And everything that I do, even in this industry, is really and truly geared towards that. Who has this idea that can transform? What sort of content do I want my friends to be watching? What do I want my kids to be exposed to? So, yeah, being able to live a life of impact. Film industry-wise, it's growth. So again, we have been at a place where we grew, then COVID happened, and then everything halted. And for the past 2 years, we have seen the growth happen. But again, it hasn't been a mistake. Everything has been towards broadening the audience. Speaking more I guess in smaller terms, it's like for us this year is to broaden the audience. What are people watching? There was a time that people only watched comedy, and then it became drama. And then now you have thrillers. But if you go into Hollywood, we have an anime audience that has been cultivated last year that didn't exist. We now have a horror audience that was cultivated as well last year that didn't exist. So the way, in my opinion, to grow the industry is to have people that want to watch different things have an opportunity to watch those things. So that is my focus in making sure that the content that I greenlight or that I release is balanced in, again, balance is what you call it, right? It can be 50, 30, 20, 10 or 60, 30, 10. But balance for what I think would work to make sure that the industry as a whole is growing. Folks are making more money and this is sustainable. But then people are getting noticed. Not every time the same people, but other people are also getting noticed, even if it's in small pockets here and there where it can now blow up. So, yeah. Film character that I fell in love with. Moesha. Do you remember Moesha? From, I think it was Brandy that played that. O to the E to the. Yeah, I really liked her. She had like braids and she was cool and she could dance, she could sing. Yeah, she's random. When I think of one that I fell in love with that I remember, definitely Moesha. Yeah. One. Yes, I've written for quite a number of women in Hollywood, but I'm gonna go with Nora Awolowo, who I'm rooting for. She started out as a DOP. Last year produced her first film with a few of her friends, and this year has some mind-blowing plans that I've spoken to her extensively about. So I'm really, really, really rooting for her. Why? She's young. She's ballsy. I like people that don't see limits because you are almost taught to see limits. There's things, especially when you're, I mean, it's cliche, but when you're an African woman, you're almost taught you can't do this too much. You can't show that you have this. This is not for people like you. But she doesn't see limits, and I appreciate that about her. She is bold, she's beautiful, she's very intelligent, and I like when people do things with their friends. She has also cultivated an army of her friends, but are professional. So they play together, but they work very hard together. So I'm definitely rooting for her. Can I say one more? You said one more. That is behind the camera. In front of the camera, who am I rooting for? This lady called Sandra. I hope I don't butcher her surname. Sandra Okozoa. God, I really hope I haven't butchered her surname. But she's a very, Sandra, forgive me. But she's a very hardworking lady. And again, just someone that, when you see pretty girls or your standard pretty girls, you almost think that, all they do is they're pretty for nothing. But she's one of those many girls, really and truly, that she's as pretty as she's smart, as diligent as she's pretty and smart. And I'm really rooting for her as well. And she's an actress, she's a producer as well. Again, she's ballsy, and I love people that don't see limits. She sees none. Even when I tell her this hasn't worked, she says, okay, cool. Okay, but this is what we're going to do. So she doesn't see limits, but it's still measured. So everything within reason and listens. So I really like her. Yes, it's something that I have taken in. I mean, I am the first child. I do have liberal parents. Even when I was taught, because a lot of it you're taught by society or school, etc., they always just said, if you want to do it, go ahead. I never had any, so I was one, I guess I'd say I'm one of the lucky ones where they always said that there was nothing I couldn't do anyway, so go ahead. If you like it, good. If it doesn't work, okay, that's cool. What are you going to do next? So I have been conditioned to not see any limits. But the moment you tell me that I can't do something, then I'm going to do it. So yeah. Ooh. What am I currently unlearning? I am unlearning to take risks. So I know I say that, to take bigger risks. So I know that I said that I don't see limits, but I'm very measured in my thinking, and I will crunch numbers and say this doesn't make sense, this doesn't add up. But what I'm unlearning is to take bigger risks. I mean, big risks, big rewards. But if you want to make a change, you have to do something that maybe sometimes doesn't make sense, but can really have the greatest impact. So one thing, I'm naturally a very risk-averse person, but what I am learning is to just take a bit more, do a bit more. If I think that this budget needs to be X number, I will add a small percentage to it because I think that I will get a bigger return here. So I'm taking bigger risk. I'm trying to unlearn being safe in the decisions that I make. So help me God.